Ref app.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
The Ref Radio Sports Network is powered statewide by the insurance adjusters at Brown O'Haver. Fire, wind, theft, or tornado, we can help. Call 405-735-5510. It's time for the Steelman and Thune at noon with Mike Steely and Parker Thune. Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino calling line at 405-329-9000. Text the show on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439. Live from the Buffalo Wild Wings studios, here's Mike Steely and Parker Thune.
Welcome in. It is a Monday, and good to have you with us right here on Steelman and Thune. I am out and about today. Normally, we're at Caven's Group on a Wednesday, but I'm going to be here today, and we're going to be here Wednesday as well. By the way, Tyler McComas will be out here a little bit later on today as well. Why are we at Caven's on a Monday? Because they are celebrating their 15th anniversary in business today here at Caven's. Gary and Jessica, they have built the elite disaster response company in the state of Oklahoma and in the surrounding area. And this all started on a just over $2,000 tax refund. And they built it into a juggernaut of a company with a great reputation. You know, when you're talking about mold remediation, emergency biohazard cleanup, building, flooding, home cleanup from flooding, anything like that, you got to get back in business or get your home operational in a hurry, and you want it done the right way. Caven's is the place you need to know about. And, again, that local number here for Gary and this company is 405-573-3048. That's 405-573-3048. For Caven's Group, again, they will get you back in business quickly, and they'll do the job right. I'll tell you who did the job right yesterday, Parker Thune, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Boy, did they.
They dismantled Kansas City. We thought this was going to be a close game. This was total, absolute domination by the Eagles yesterday in Super Bowl 59. Not even close.
I kept waiting and waiting and waiting, and I think there were so many of us waiting, Steely, to see, all right, when is Patrick Mahomes going to channel that dark magic, and when is Kansas City going to claw back into this game? Even when it went into halftime 24-0 in favor of Philadelphia, even when they tacked on that field goal in the third quarter to make it 27-0, I think even the most diehard of Eagles fans were still sitting there with a healthy fear that if you let Patrick Mahomes go down the field and put the ball in the end zone, Kansas City could find themselves right back into this game with only the slightest inkling of momentum. But, Steely, this game resembled the 2021 Super Bowl, a Super Bowl 55, in which Tampa just completely powered down Patrick Mahomes and that vaunted Chiefs offense. It resembled the Broncos-Seahawks Super Bowl from back in the day when Denver came in as the heavy favorite and Seattle, and that's, what did they call it, the Legion of Boom. That Legion of Boom defense just had their way with Peyton Manning in Denver from the jump. It was a beatdown. And I know when it went final, when the final horn sounded, and you look up at the scoreboard and it says 40-22, okay, that's a pretty convincing win, but if you didn't actually watch the game, you wouldn't think that Philly dominated that game to the degree that they did. But they absolutely did. And major props to Jalen Hurts for being the first. Well, and this is an interesting question. It's actually our poll question on the YouTube stream today if you're watching on YouTube. Can OU claim Troy Aikman as a Super Bowl winning quarterback? Because if not, Jalen Hurts is the first OU quarterback to ever get it done in the Super Bowl. And he played very well last night. Wasn't perfect, but it didn't need to be. He delivered that big downfield throw to Devontae Smith that really was the kill shot in the third quarter of that game. That really removed any doubt as to what was about to happen.
Yeah, and that's our poll question. And Troy Aikman, of course, who played for the Sooners, first game that he started, 1983, I believe it was, the Danny Bradley game at Kansas, where I think he threw for 14 yards, and Oklahoma got upset at Kansas with Danny Bradley out of the lineup that day. Can Oklahoma claim Troy Aikman? What do you think as a Super Bowl winning quarterback? There's no doubt they can claim Jalen Hurts, and Alabama can claim Jalen Hurts as well. I saw a little discussion on that. Of course, both schools can claim Jalen Hurts. I mean, that's modern-day college football, right? So, but what about Troy Aikman? Do you think it's realistic the Sooners should be able to claim him as a starting quarterback? And you can find our poll question here on the YouTube channel. And again, to get us at YouTube, why am I not seeing the chat? I'm looking for the chat. Can't pull it up yet. Oh, my gosh. Okay. Anyway, and I'm on the app as well, so I'll see if I can get this pulled up here in a minute. Bottom line is the Eagles, controlled both sides of the football at the line of scrimmage. Particularly, Patrick Mahomes was running for his life throughout the game. Rough night for Joe Thune. I know he's really good at guard, left tackle. He was overmatched. And really, I think once you had the pick six by Cooper DeJean, it felt like this game's over. It's done. And that's, with Kansas City Mahomes, we've seen a lot of comebacks. When they look down and out, they find a way. But yesterday, they just got overwhelmed, completely overwhelmed, Parker.
They did, Steely, and it was a masterclass by Philadelphia defensive coordinator Vic Fangio, who has been one of the best in the game for a long, long time. Had that brief stint as the Denver Broncos head coach. Didn't really work out for him as a head coach, but there's no question that he is one of the best defensive coordinators that has ever coached at the NFL level, and that was his magnum opus last night, because anybody watching that game that didn't know any better would not have thought that Patrick Mahomes is widely considered one of the top five quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. And Kansas City, man, it was astonishing, because for the whole first half of that game on into the third quarter, you're just sitting there wondering, how on earth is a team that's been so dominant, that's looking for its third consecutive Super Bowl title, that has won, 17, 18 straight one-possession games, that always seems to get it done. How were they this futile on the offensive side of the ball? They could not get anything going. And I think what's most remarkable is that Philly didn't blitz, Steely. It's not like they were sending the house on Patrick Mahomes. No, they were just winning at the point of attack with their four-man front. They were overwhelming Kansas City every single time Patrick Mahomes dropped back. And so I always love to watch a defensive masterclass. It's a lost art in today's game where you get so many shootouts. Offensive football is considered sexy, but it's always cool to see a defensive coordinator strut out there with his unit and just completely shut down the opposition, especially a really, really talented quarterback like Patrick Mahomes. So shout out to Vic Fangio. Shout out to that Eagles defense. That was a fun one to watch last night for aficionados of defense like myself.
Yeah, you're right. No blitzes, no called blitzes, four-man front, right? And they just dominated the football game. There's no doubt. Now let's talk about Jalen Hurts, 17 of 22, 2 touchdowns, did throw a pick, ran the ball. He was the leading rusher in the game 11 times, 72 yards, had a touchdown there, touchdown passes to Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, and just had, a really good football game. First time around, it was a close loss to Kansas City. This time it was a decisive victory for Jalen Hurts against the Chiefs. And, you think about where he was, replaced by Tua in that national championship game against Georgia. He comes back for, another year and then ends up, rescuing them in the SEC championship game. Then he ends up at Oklahoma, has a great year under Lincoln Riley, and, has developed into a very solid NFL quarterback. A lot of us, including myself, thought, I like Jalen Hurts. He's a great leader, great teammate, works his butt off, all that stuff. I'm not sure he can be a quality starting quarterback in the National Football League, and he has proven everybody wrong. Let's hear from Jalen Hurts after the game on his journey and where that fire comes from for him.
It comes from all of that. It comes from the ups, the downs, the joys, and the pains that life has brought me. And, people forget that. Maybe they don't. I'm that same kid. I'm that same person that has experienced all those different things. since the age of 17, being, just being fuel, adding fuel to everything. And I've been able to process those things and use them and make it a strength of mine. And can't do it without great people around you. And, just setting out to do something so special, putting all your time and all your energy into it, and still really processing it. I just think about the work. I think about the work. I think about the effort. I think about just setting that vision on trying to quantify everything that I do.
All right, on the Stoops Review this morning on the T-Row in the Morning Show. Bob Stoops on the Stoops Review every Monday morning, and then on the Stoops Preview every Thursday afternoon on The Rush, all brought to you by Stride Bank. Here is what Bob had to say about Jalen Hurts. That he was very impressed with how Jalen has really worked hard to become a top-flight NFL quarterback.
I think what you have to really credit him for is, I think, all the development through his time here at OU, but even after, he kept working, and he's polished his throwing motion, all of it. He's improved every year. I think from the time he got to Oklahoma and just kept improving. And again, the job, not just what Lincoln did, but then after being drafted, continuing to progress. And he's a big, strong guy. Everybody knows can really run it, but he's really polished all his throwing, and you got to give it to him. Good for him. And yes, he's a complete package now as you watch him.
There you go. So great day for Jalen Hurts, and Nick Sirianni also is one of those guys. We talked about Ryan Day, after the Michigan loss, right? The Ohio State fans were ready to run him out of town. You're thinking, man, is Ryan Day going to survive this? Not only did he survive it, they go on to win the national championship. And the Philly fans are the most difficult fans to please in sports, at particularly professional level we're talking about here. But, they were ready to run Nick Sirianni out of there too, Parker. And so you get a Ryan Day national championship, and then you get Nick Sirianni winning, the Lombardi Trophy in Philadelphia, and two embattled coaches. And look, I don't know how embattled Ryan Day was, but it certainly felt like he was after the Michigan loss, because they don't take kindly to losses to the Maize and Blue if you're the head coach in Columbus. But it's kind of weird how both these coaches were maligned by their fan bases, and they both end up winning titles.
Steely, do you remember Nick Sirianni's introductory press conference as head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles? It was the worst press conference I've ever seen to this day. And understandably, when that happened, Eagles fans were sitting there wondering, who on earth is this moron that we just hired? Really? Like, this is the guy? We just fired a Super Bowl winning head coach in Doug Peterson for this goon? And here we are 4 years later, and he's a Super Bowl champion. And, man,
yeah,
to loop back around to Jalen Hurts, what Coach Stoops said is 1,000% on the money, because Jalen Hurts is where he is today because nobody pushes him harder than he pushes himself. I mean, this was a guy that would pop off for 500 total yards and 6 touchdowns during that 2019 season at Oklahoma, and then go hit the squat rack before he did his post-game interviews.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up. You guys had to wait on his post-game because he had to go do a little business in the weight room before he met the media. The guy is – and he is legit, man. He does what he says what he does, and he backs it up.
And, again, the moment that it was over last night was the moment that Jalen Hurts stepped up and delivered that beautiful deep ball to Devontae Smith. And I'll say this because, I covered OU during that 2019 season. That was my first year full-time on the beat. And anybody who covered OU that season will tell you the exact same thing. If you watched Jalen Hurts and Spencer Rattler warm up, Spencer Rattler had infinitely more arm talent than Jalen Hurts did. I mean, leaps and bounds difference. Spencer Rattler would make throws off 1 foot, fading the wrong way that Jalen Hurts would be stepping into and delivering with perfect mechanics, and they'd look the exact same. And yet, that kind of underscores the primary concern that so many had about Hurts going to the next level, Steely, is he a good enough thrower? You don't question the athleticism. You don't question the leadership. You don't question the intangibles. Is he a good enough thrower of the football to last in the NFL as a starter? I frankly didn't think so.
No, I was right there with you.
There were a lot that didn't think so. But here we are, 5 years into his NFL career, and arguably the biggest play, well, maybe not the biggest play of the day. That's probably the Cooper DeJean interception return for a touchdown. But the clincher in the Super Bowl, the headshot to end it, if you will, is Jalen Hurts stepping up and dropping a 50-yard dime to Devontae Smith in the end zone to give Philly an insurmountable lead en route to their second Super Bowl in the last 8 seasons. So for him to have come as far as he has as a passer, that speaks volumes to the development aspect of things and the reality that Jalen Hurts has never been satisfied with who he is as a football player. There's been a continual striving to get better and better and better, and you've seen that.
And there's another side to that story, too, which is kind of unusual. You think about who caught the winning pass from Tua when they beat Georgia in the championship game with Jalen Hurts out?
Devontae Smith?
Yeah. I mean, life comes at you full circle, there's no doubt. All right, we got to get a break in. We're here at Cavens Group. It is their 15th anniversary, the number one elite disaster response company in the state of Oklahoma, really in this area. 405-573-3048 is the number to call. I do see you guys on the YouTube chat now. We'll talk about our poll question as well when we get back. And the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439. That is 405-651-3439. We are coming right back here on the home of Sooner fans.
A true Sooner fan wouldn't be caught dead without the KREF app. Join the Army. Get the app. Tell your friends. This is The Ref, where diehard Sooner fans listen.
Have you or someone you know suffered a loss to your home or business from the recent storms? Before you accept a settlement, call Brown O'Haver at 405-735-5510. Brown O'Haver is a local-based company helping Oklahomans with claims since 1988 with preparation and expert analysis detailing your loss and insurance settlement. As your trusted consultant, Brown O'Haver can give you peace of mind and make sure you're getting what's yours. Call Brown O'Haver today, 405-735-5510, and make sure they're working for you.
What are you doing out there?
Come on!
I saw you at the game the other night. Yeah, you. Up there getting mad, acting like we're all out there making $1 million a game. Well, let me be real with you. This isn't the pros. It's school sports, and it's a game, our game. So please, let us play.
School sports fans, remember, when you cheer for your team, make noise for the right reasons. This message presented by the NFHS and the NIAAA.
And all student athletes in Oklahoma.
The Ref is the home of Sooner fans and is once again your home for chaos. Every game-changing hit.
Long fly ball to left. Track. Whoa. Gone.
Every strikeout.
Got him. Swinging.
Every defensive gem.
He caught it. He caught it.
Every game, all year, the Ref has you covered.
Catch opening weekend of Sooner Baseball against the Lehigh Mountain Hawks Friday at 4, Saturday at 2, and Sunday morning at 11 a.m. right here on the Ref and the KREF app.
At Oklahoma Electric Cooperative, we value service, not profits. That's why we want to help you save on energy costs this winter. Here are a few tips. First, open curtains on your home's south-facing windows during the day and use the sun's heat for free. Second, seal leaky doors and windows using low-cost caulking or weather stripping. And third, be sure to keep the fireplace damper closed unless a fire is burning. Visit okcoop.org for more ways to save this winter.
Speaking of technology, did you know that RK Black is an authorized dealer for Kyocera copiers? And the Kyocera copiers aren't just copiers. They're smart devices that can scan, print, fax, and email your documents with ease and security. Even better, they're backed by RK Black's award-winning service team that is built on nearly 70 years of taking great care of our clients. Whether you need a desktop printer or a multifunction copier, RK Black has the right product for you. Let's get the conversation started. Give us a call at 943-9800 or visit us at rkblack.com.
Mike Steely here for Lasher Home Comfort Systems, your trusted home comfort experts in the Oklahoma City metro area. Tim Lasher and his team have more than 130 years of combined experience. They recognize a significant number of homeowners live with inadequate home comfort systems. They specialize in diagnosing your home system issues while providing more efficiency and reducing your utility costs. As an authorized dealer of American Standard, Tim can service your residence or business. Call Tim and his team at 405-579-3113. Lasher Home Comfort Systems.
Confidence comes from knowing you're getting a great deal. That's why we're offering Confidence Ford employee pricing for everyone. The same exclusive prices our team enjoys, with fantastic savings on new 2023 and 2024 models in stock. Now is the perfect time to drive home in a brand new Ford. Visit us online or come see us in person, conveniently located at 825 North Interstate Drive. Confidence Ford of Norman, a Cavender Auto family dealership, where confidence is Cavender.
March is almost here, and the home of Sooner fans is ready to make the best 68 team giveaway better than ever again this year. Join us Monday, March 17th for the Refs' 24th annual 68 team giveaway, live at Buffalo Wild Wings off of 19th Street and more from noon to 7. The Refs' 68 team giveaway is presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind Casino. Good times, great rewards. The Ref, the home of Sooner fans, and your home for the best giveaways this March.
Here at Cavens on a Monday, we'll also be out here on Wednesday. We're here today because today is their 15th anniversary. Congratulations to Gary and the crew here. They are the elite disaster response company in the state of Oklahoma. 405-573-3048. Online at cavensgroup.com. That's C-A-V-I-N-S, cavensgroup.com. Whether it's mold remediation, emergency biohazard cleanup, building and home flooding cleanup. They do it all. Water and mold, you have issues there, smoke damage. They can get it taken care of with the best crews, the most crews, and also the best trained crews in the business at Cavens. We'll talk to Gary a little bit later. 405-573-3048. They're on Insta. They're on Facebook. They're on X. Cavens Group, again, C-A-V-I-N-S. Also, want to thank Lasher Home Comfort Systems for sponsoring our first hour here on Steelman and Thune. 405-579-3113 for Lasher Home Comfort Systems, home comfort you can trust. So, we've been over the Super Bowl. The Eagles win 40-22. Sooner basketball we'll cover here in just a second. Tennessee routs Oklahoma by 20 at the half. They shoot 60% for the game. Made 14 of their first 16 shots, including 5 of 5 from three-point range. And the Sooners, again, really were just totally outclassed in that game. Next up for Porter and Company, Wednesday in Columbia against Missouri, 8 o'clock on the SEC Network. Sooner women play tonight at home against Auburn, 7 o'clock on the SEC Network. The Thunder is home tonight at the Paycom Palace to play New Orleans. New Orleans is horrible. Oklahoma City will not have Isaiah Joe out with a knee issue. Cason Wallace will be out again with a shoulder problem. Ousmane Dieng is out with a calf issue. They will have Chet and Lou Dort back. Chet, just because of rest, didn't play in the Thunder's impressive win at Memphis. Memphis had won 10 of 11, and Oklahoma City really went in there and routed the Grizzlies on Saturday night. It's a busy week for Oklahoma City. They have New Orleans tonight at home against Miami Wednesday. Thursday night at the T-Wolves on TNT. Then they turn around and play Friday night at Utah. And then Sunday at Minnesota again for a game Sunday evening on ESPN. OU women's softball team starts out 6-0. More on that coming up later. They'll play in the Getterman Classic in Waco Saturday and Sunday. We'll talk more about what the Sooners did in their first big events over the weekend in California to go 6-0. And the Sooner baseball team opens up on Friday against Lehigh at 4 o'clock at Mitchell Park. They also have a game Saturday afternoon at 2, and then Sunday an 11 a.m. game against Lehigh at Mitchell Park. So that's what's going on in the world of sports. Now, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Parker Thune. Let's hear from Porter Moser. Obviously, his team backs against the wall right now, trying to make the NCAA tournament. They're 3-7 in the conference. They've got another ranked team on the road coming up on Wednesday night. Then you play an LSU team that's not very good, particularly by SEC standards, at home Saturday at 5 o'clock at the LNC. But Tennessee just put it on the Sooners. Really good defensive team. And, again, when you start out the game making 14 of 16, they kind of took the crowd out of the game. The crowd was average as usual again. And it was just domination by the Vols Saturday.
I'm sorry, did you want me to speak or did you want Porter Moser to speak?
Yes, that was an open-ended, I'm sorry, for you to speak. But we can get to Porter. You want to get to Porter first and then we'll speak?
Yeah. Go ahead. Let's.
Okay, let's hear from Porter because you could tell he wasn't real happy afterwards. He knows that he's under some pressure right now, and they need as many victories as they can get. But what more than anything else he was talking about after the game is that he wants his team to show a little more fight.
It appears we have a malfunctioning computer.
Good Lord!
Okay, I'll just go ahead and speak. We'll try Porter again in a moment.
You speak, then we'll let Porter speak.
Yeah, Steely, look, I think it's as simple as this. If they beat LSU this weekend, they've still got an outside shot. If they don't win that LSU game, it's over.
Oh, yeah.
It's over. They're not making the tournament. I mean, the path is officially foreclosed at that point. Because this schedule, and we've talked about this schedule, right? It's brutal. The only unranked opponents you have the rest of the way are LSU and Texas. And you need 4 wins, Steely. You've got to get to 20 wins. Right now, it's really, really tough to envision that happening, especially on the heels of what was a disastrous performance on Saturday. Because, look, Porter's right. The Sooners just didn't show much fight. Man, they played sloppy defense. The scoring wasn't there. Jeremiah Fears did play, which there was a question going into the morning as to whether he was going to be available and active for the game, and he was. You can only imagine how much worse it would have been if he hadn't been able to suit up. But let's see if our computer is back to functioning properly here, and we can hear from Porter on the lack of fight that his team showed Saturday.
You have to have some urgency, and we've.
What is going on?
There was Providence, Arizona, Michigan, Louisville, just over and over. We were down at halftime against Georgia Tech. South Carolina, we were down, Arkansas. We've had a lot of games where I've talked about resiliency, fighting through hard. Again, the competition does that to you, but you still have to fight through the hard parts of these games. We're in a position to be in position, all right? And that's the thing. It takes one game to turn it. In one game that you win with our schedule, throw a dart up there on an unbelievable resume win. But it's not going to happen if we don't collectively come back together and have this resiliency to fight through the tough parts of a game.
There you go. Man, what is going on back there?
Solar flares. It's the solar flares.
Can we stop the freaking solar flares? I mean, is there a laser we can shoot up at the solar flares or what? That turned into like Mickey Mouse for like 2 seconds, and then it's straight. Very strange. By the way, we do have a super chat. You want me to read it?
Sure, go ahead.
It is from Kyle Smith. Thank you, Kyle, who says, God bless Parker Thune for shouting out Kenny Golston from Valiant. I do the radio play-by-play for the Valiant games, and Kenny and his brother King are phenomenal athletes. Go Bulldogs.
Well, thanks, Kyle. I appreciate your super chat and your kind words. Yes, Valiant, Oklahoma, down there in the southeast part of the state, does have a couple of good ones. And Kenny Golston, 2026 athlete, and King Golston, 2027 defensive lineman. They are, of course, brothers, and they both have several Power 4 scholarship offers. So, Couple good ones down there tucked away in Little Valiant, Oklahoma. But, yeah, I was out on the road over the weekend, down at a 7-on-7 tournament in Dallas. Got to see Kenny live. Good player. His brother King might turn out to be even more highly recruited than Kenny is. But appreciate you, Kyle, certainly. Looping back around to hoops, Steely, it feels like and you go back to the Arkansas game, that type of performance stands alone this season this conference season, I should say, as the type of performance that you want to see from the OU Hoops squad, in that they were able to go down to the wire and find a way to win. That game looked like so many games that we'd seen from Moser's teams in years gone by, where they're out to a lead and then things fall apart down the stretch and they wind up on the losing end. But especially to go on the road the way that they did and win a tightly contested ball game that came down to the final possession against an opponent like Arkansas, that was a confidence builder, Steely. But the Sooners weren't really able to use that as a launching pad. And so I think what he said in that soundbite is 100% correct, which is that all it takes is one to really get your swagger back and get your mojo going. But if that wasn't the turning point in SEC play for Oklahoma, why would we believe that the turning point will come, I don't know, let's say Saturday against LSU, when the very next week you got to turn around and go on the road to number 6 Florida and then play 22nd ranked Mississippi State as well?
Well, and, the one way they could get there to get to 7 is by winning the rest of their home games. LSU is the most winnable game. They're unranked. They haven't been very good. Mississippi State has been ranked, obviously. Kentucky's been ranked. Mizzou's been ranked. I think you can win 3 of those 4. I don't see this Oklahoma team sweeping, all 4 of those games, which means you would have to go get one on the road. And then, as you talked about, the only unranked team on that schedule is what? Texas at the end of the year. So their backs are against the wall. I would give them a 1-3 chance of getting in, 33% right now. But, they get into the SEC, and the SEC is the best basketball league in the country and the best it's been in maybe a quarter century, in terms of a lot of really good teams in the same conference. So here's one off YouTube. By the way, we are streaming live on YouTube, and it's KREF Sports. By the way, just search KREF Sports. Jody asked, what are your thoughts on Dean saying in the Sports Blitz last night that OU does not have the NIL funds its fan base thinks it has, and that Porter is at an NIL disadvantage?
Well, Porter's definitely at an NIL disadvantage. No question about that. I think that's pretty well known, though. Like, OU doesn't have a ton of NIL funding to the sport of basketball, but I think people are aware of that, Steely. It just really puts you between a rock and a hard place, though, because let's be honest with ourselves. If the rest of the season plays out the way that I expect it to, and that most of us expect it to at this point, which is Oklahoma's free fall continues and they do not make the tournament for the 4th consecutive year, you can do one of 2 things, right? You can bring Porter Moser back for year 5, or you can get rid of him. If you get rid of him, can all but promise you that whoever the next coach is, he's going to run into the same issues that Porter Moser has run into with regard to lack of NIL support and inability to create continuity because of lack of NIL support. But no doubt, Steely, if you just bring Porter back, say, okay, he's not the problem, we'll see what he can do in year 5, then there's probably going to be a pretty significant percentage of the OU fan base that's just going to tune OU basketball out entirely until Porter Moser is dismissed, because they're tired of it at this point, and they're tired of him.
All right, 405-651-3439 on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. That's 405-651-3439. Why can't I pull this dang poll question up? We need to find out from Blake what the poll numbers are, because
the poll numbers currently suggest that 68% of Sooner fans do not believe OU can and should claim Troy Aikman as a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Yeah, and I'm with him on that as well. He played 5 games at Oklahoma. We talked about his first game was that disaster against KU, and then it all ended for him. He did play in an Oklahoma-Texas game because, believe it or not, the Miami game that the Sooners played, in Norman that year, that was late October. And the Sooners lost that game. That's obviously the game where Jerome Brown broke Troy's leg in that game. Jamel Holloway came in. The rest is history. Jamel came in, and the Sooners eventually won the national championship. Barry Switzer placed a call to Terry Donahue out at UCLA, told him he had a quarterback with a great arm. And Troy Aikman, who originally was born in California, obviously was in Henrietta for high school, goes out to UCLA and becomes the number 1 pick in the draft. So worked out well for both sides. Okay. 405-651-3439, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line.
Sad basketball fan Josh says, this program has been let down by the administration and the fan base. Rayford Young and Josh Forsyth talking about how bad the LNC is on Twitter is telling. Poor NIL, poor hoop support, poor coaching, poor athletic department support. Bringing a new coach isn't going to change a whole hell of a lot. Money just isn't there. And that's kind of the way I look at it, Steely, too, is, if you want Porter Moser dismissed, fine. Like I understand that. And I like Porter. I want him to win at Oklahoma. I've said that 1,000 times. But if you want him dismissed, fine. I can't fault you for that. Missing the tournament 4 straight years should not happen at Oklahoma and has not happened in decades. But if you bring in a new head coach, that does not solve all of your issues, Steely. I don't know how many more wins that would be good for, even if you hit the higher out of the park. But in reality, you're not going to compete with the top programs in college basketball. You're not going to return to the upper echelon of the sport unless there are changes made that go far beyond the coaching staff.
Yeah, it's not a good situation at all right now. There is no doubt about it. All right, so the Sooners will play in Columbia, 8 o'clock against Mizzou on the SEC Network coming up Wednesday night, and then Saturday back home at the LNC against LSU. That's a game that Oklahoma needs to, and it's a must-win home game for the Sooners coming up Saturday, 5 o'clock. And the OU women against Auburn tonight, 7 o'clock on the SEC Network at Lloyd Noble. All right, break time right here at Cabins on their 15th anniversary. Jesse Crittenden will join us at 1:20. We'll talk about the Sooners and their experience in the SEC when we get back in more detail. We're on YouTube. Search KREF Sports. Hit live when you get to the homepage. You'll find us there. And, of course, we want to hear from you on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line as well. Keep it here. We'll be right back.
Through the dead of winter to the dawn of spring, through the dog days of summer and the kickoff of fall, no one covers Sooner football like we do. The Ref is SEC ready. Are you?
The all-new Eskridge Honda is here, right in time for the new year. Our new building is awesome, just like these deals. Pay just $259 per month on new 2024 Accords. Come in today to get the best deals all month long. Now conveniently located off I-35 and 89th. Just look for the blue tents on the roof. Online at eskridgehonda.com.
2024 Accord LX $259 per month. 3-year, 10,000-mile lease. $399 plus TTNL and first month's payment due at signing. Ends 2/28/25.
OU softball, baseball, and gymnastics offer great opportunities for you to get out for some exciting action and support your Sooners. Going to an OU event or game? Balfour of Norman on Campus Corner invites you to stop by and get some new OU gear. Whether it's a softball jersey with your favorite player or just a new lucky shirt or hat to wear to the game, Balfour has everything you need to be in style and showing your colors. Cheer for the Sooners in the best and newest styles in Sooner sportswear. Locally owned for more than 45 years, Balfour continues to be Sooner fans' favorite OU store and has everything you need. Balfour has the latest styles and fashion trends for men, women, and children. You can find something for every Sooner fan. When it comes to hats, they have you covered with more than 100 styles to choose from. Even OU socks, so you're literally covered from head to toe. Graduation is right around the corner. They have OU diploma frames in stock. Or you can always get a gift card so they can choose the perfect gift for themselves. Come see us on the corner or shop online at crimsonproud.com, where you will find everything Sooner.
We tend not to think about right now But right now in front of us is victory over cancer. Right now, cancer research funded by the V Foundation is leading to better treatments and saving lives. When you give to the V Foundation, 100% of your donation goes directly to game-changing cancer research. Victory over cancer is there for the taking by you. Donate at V.org, because today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Hey, Sooner fans. It's Jonathan Jackson here. Yeah, the same JJ who used to wreak havoc on offenses every Saturday. Now, I'm fighting in a different arena, the courtroom. If you've been hurt in an accident, I'll sack those insurance companies and make sure you get the justice you deserve. Remember, it's simple. Get help, get justice, get JJ Law. Call me at 855-GET-JJ-LAW. That's 855-GET-JJ-LAW. On the field or in the courtroom, I've always got your back.
Are you in need of purchasing your own health insurance? Are you turning 65 and confused about Medicare? Are you an employer looking at offering benefits to your staff? Call the agents at Allison Insurance. They'll sort through the confusion. They're not captive to just one company, and they'll get the best option for you. Don't get frustrated. Call Allison Insurance at 800-580-5587 or 745-2968. Allison Insurance. They are the experts.
There's strength in family, and there's strength in partnership. Hi, I'm Lainey Phillips with Armstrong Bank, where we believe in building financial stability and enduring relationships. As a family-owned community bank since 1909, we'll always be here to support you, because we know that true strength is in our communities. Armstrong Bank. Strength runs in our family. Visit armstrong.bank. Member FDIC.
People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Back with you here at Cavens. Gary will join us next hour to talk about the 15th anniversary out here at Cavens Group in a little bit. 405-573-3048. Again, the number, if you have any kind of disaster, water intrusion, mold damage, smoke inhalation, smoke damage in your home, biohazard cleanup, any of that stuff, then you want to call Cavens Group at 405-573-3048. They have the best reputation in the business, Gary and Company. You can find them online at cavensgroup.com. They're on Insta. They're on Facebook. They're on Twitter/X. Cavens Group, CAVINS, cavensgroup.com as well. Riverwind Casino, get on out and play with your wild card today. They have over 2,800 electronic games for you to play on a newly designed gaming floor within the last year or so that looks real and it looks spectacular. They have an Oasis gaming area also that's smoke-free, Skyloft gaming area upstairs. All your favorite table games are there as well. 2 table game pits, 2 high-stakes areas, and a world-class poker room. There's off-track betting. There's everything that you need. They've got great bars and dining, Coupe Ale House Bar, River Buffet, Chips and Ales, pub restaurant, a great food court as well. And get out there and play with your wild card today. Get some extra entries for the 80K Cupid's Quest promotional drawings happening on Friday night. Play with your wild card, especially Mondays and Tuesdays for 5 times entries, and be there again on Friday nights for the big drawings to win your share of 80K in cash and bonus play. Shows in February. Later in the month, Aaron Lewis and the State Liners, Ryan Bingham and the Texas Gentlemen, and Gladys Knight in March. 38 Special, Bonnie Raitt and Chicago. In April, you have America the Band, and you have Boys to Men, and in May, Patti LaBelle. So you can get tickets online at riverwind.com or go by the Showplace Theater box office. Okay, 405-651-3439. So, all right, where's this Yardbirds? I sound like the ultimate. John Reed, over the weekend, a I guess he's a Knoxville radio host. Clearly looking for some engagement here because that's what all the clowns do now. What can I do for engagement and likes? I'll do anything. I'll sell my soul if I have to. But he said this, and there might be some truth in this.
Let's hear it.
Everything about Oklahoma is underwhelming. Maybe the worst basketball atmosphere I've seen a top 5 team play in. The football atmosphere was lacking too. The teams are boring. The coaches are boring. How do they have less aura than Missouri? Send them back to the Big 12. Now, clearly that's looking for engagement because that's what all the kids do these days. They have no life outside of social media, and most of them are attention-seeking clowns. But there's some truth in that statement right now.
Well, and the unfortunate reality is I think there's a lot of truth in that statement, Steely. Especially, you said he's a Tennessee guy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, if you're a Tennessee guy, what's your experience of Oklahoma been so far since they joined the SEC? You went to Norman to play him in football. Their starting quarterback committed 3 turnovers and looked like some random frat guy that the university had decided to throw out there to play quarterback because they won a raffle or something. They put the true freshman backup in, and you beat them handily in their own building. And the environment naturally was just kind of dead for the final 2.5 quarters of that football game. And then you come to town with a really, really good basketball team. And, like, the LNC is what the LNC is, Steely. And OU basketball support is what OU basketball support is as far as the size of the crowd that shows out to watch home games for OU hoops. Like, it's well documented, the struggle that Oklahoma has creating any sort of, to use John's words, aura in the Lloyd Noble Center. And so I can't really fault him for having that opinion. I think it's pretty myopic, but certainly it's based on experience, so I'll give him that. It's not like he's just blindly rendering judgment. No, he's seen Oklahoma play Tennessee in both of the major sports in the SEC, and both times it's been underwhelming. I understand that. So, I think there's some engagement farming in there, but there's also a lot of truth ingrained in that message, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think throwing Missouri in there in particular, because, believe me, these clowns know how to get their attention. And look what he's saying. There's definitely some validity. There's no doubt. I'm not saying this is one of the YouTube yahoos or one of those guys that's just out there fishing, but I think there is a little bit of engagement farming going on there. But it's hard to read that and not think, for the most part, football atmosphere lacking too. What did you think of that? Tennessee atmosphere was pretty amazing. Now, look, Neyland Stadium seats more. It's louder.
Yeah.
The fan base is more engaged. The OU fans, and look, the OU fans were really good in that game. Obviously, they were let down by the Sooner offense, particularly in that game against Tennessee. But the stadium's not as big. It's not as loud as some of the other environments in the SEC. But, I don't know, to say it was lacking, maybe the expectation was set, at Neyland Stadium levels, and that's tough. Baker Mayfield said at one point maybe that was probably the loudest atmosphere he ever played in as a college quarterback. That's the one that, I don't know. What do you think about that statement?
Well, I will defer to Reformed Homer on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line because I think he chimed in with an opinion certainly relevant to this whole discourse. He said, 50-year OU fan, I've always said OU fans are the country club fans. They are not loud and rowdy.
I think there's some truth to that. I do. I think, look, what did I say? There's a bigger hillbilly factor in the SEC than the Big 12. And hillbillies get louder. Now, look, does Oklahoma have a share of hillbillies? Yes, but the hillbilly quotient is not as high as it is in other places. And, the OU fans, the basketball fans have always been pretty predictable. You run up and down the floor, you become great with Billy Tubbs, you play an exciting brand of basketball, and you win big, they'll fill most every seat in the Lloyd Noble Center. If you don't, they're not going to be there a lot of the time. And the LNC is way outdated. We all know that. We'll see, what's going to happen there, if that will change. But these SEC fan bases, man, they are rabid fan bases. They really are. And, you could say there are other factors involved with basketball at Oklahoma, the Thunder. Maybe there's so much disposable income to go around, and maybe more people now with the Thunder being a real NBA championship contender. Maybe they've thrown their money in that direction rather than going to Sooner games. I don't know.
There's a listener on the text line from the 405 who says, there's no truth that the football environment against Tennessee was bad. It was very loud and engaged. Only a moron would not understand why it got quiet as our team imploded. No doubt. But again, if you're putting yourself in the shoes of a Tennessee guy like John Reed, what are you going to say about that football game? And this is true. There was a lot of orange in the stadium that night.
Oh, yeah.
And so your perspective on that is going to be, well, shoot, Tennessee fans brought some noise too. And if not for the Tennessee contingent in that building, it probably would have been just another ho-hum environment for the first quarter and a half. And then obviously the folks in orange were doing all the cheering from the middle of the second quarter on. Frisco Sooner says, I don't care what anyone tries to tell me. There is no doubt in my mind that the Thunder has destroyed both OU and OSU basketball. And if OU doesn't take that seriously, it's going to carry over to the football program if they're not successful and successful quick. The bottom line is there just isn't enough dollars to go around in the state of Oklahoma, and that money is going to go to a winner.
I think there's some truth in that. Jody says on our YouTube chat, the OU-Tennessee football atmosphere was good, but nothing special by SEC standards. The Realist, I need that hat, Steely. Where did you get it? Off YouTube. That's one. I got that at the Thunder Shop. That was about 5 years ago, though, when I got it. So I don't know if they still carry it, but yes, I do have many. I wear many different hats. But that's where I got it. Was at the Thunder Shop, but it's been a while.
Sad basketball fan Josh points out that basketball tickets are $6. $6.
I mean, Parker, do we have to say at this point, and I don't want the OU fans or anybody in the administration to get mad at me, but you have to tell the truth. So far, football and basketball for the men has been a disaster first year in the SEC.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no other way to say it.
There's not. And you're spot on. And it's unfortunate that that's the reality, but that's the reality. Puerto Rican Sooner says, Lloyd Noble is only worth going to for girls' gymnastics. That's it.
Big win over Kentucky for KJ and company, and Mark Williams and the men at McCasland Saturday night. Took down, again, defending national champion Stanford. Sooner men and women. Both dynasties, both having great years and a highly successful weekend. Yes.
Corey from Piedmont says, Parker is correct on Sooner fans not paying any attention to OU men's basketball. The LNC is an embarrassment, and it's shocking Joe C. has not built a new arena. Get a loan or something. Don't just wait on donors to give money. I turned the game off on Saturday and will not watch another game until OU has a new arena.
He turned the game off. That's it. That's it. Yeah, it's frustrating right now. It's frustrating right now. Hey, the Sooner softball team is 6-0, though. They won all those games. They got challenged a couple times out in Cali, of course, and I kind of like that they got challenged a couple times. Beat San Diego State in a 9-inning contest Thursday. And then they got challenged and played the 11-inning game against Long Beach State yesterday, winning 2-0. But looked, I thought, pretty decent, when you're replacing the greatest group of women's softball players that were together for 2 to 4 years, when you throw like a Brito in there and a few others, you talk about a challenge. You can't beat that standard. I mean, you've got a very high standard. You can't beat it. You can maybe match it, but that's tough. But Sooner softball starting out 6-0, and they play this weekend in Waco in the Getterman Classic, Saturday and Sunday. Two of the teams there, Hofstra and Baylor.
Hofstra, huh? Isn't that Marcus Colston's alma mater? Hofstra? I think so. You remember Marcus Colston?
I don't. Why
Super Bowl winning wide receiver with the Saints.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So.
Now I know. Yeah.
This is an unfortunate text from Michael and Marlowe to wrap up this conversation here in hour number 1. When I yell at the top of my lungs at OU games, I get more dirty looks than I do people joining me in making noise.
Yeah, it's been an issue for a long time, and at basketball games, no doubt. James Harris on YouTube. Hillbilly quotient, I think it's higher than average over here in Sequoia County, Steely. Scott Spencer, you're welcome. We like being on YouTube, even though it's a little more work and somewhat challenging for an old man sometimes. All right, we got to get out of here for hour number 1. We've got another award-winning hour on the way here on The Ref.
Sound off any time of day on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439. Right here on the home of Sooner fans.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
The 6-time national champion OU women's gymnastics team continue their 2025 season with an exciting SEC matchup against the Kentucky Wildcats. Friday, February 7th at 7:15 p.m. Enjoy the best gymnastics in the country while winning incredible prizes throughout the night as we transform the LNC into your favorite game shows. Visit Soonersports.com/tickets to secure your seats now, and we'll see you for Friday Night Heights on February 7th. Boomer Sooner.
Imagine one step, and suddenly a fall turns into a fracture. For many, osteoporosis is a hidden threat, weakening bones silently until it's too late. At the Ortho Central Bone Health Clinic, we believe in personalized care to keep bones strong and resilient. Led by advanced practitioner Amanda Boyd, our team specializes in detection and personalized treatment plans, from bone density testing to strengthening bones after a fracture. Take charge of your bone health today. Call Ortho Central's Bone Health Clinic and let's build better bones together.
People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change, called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
At Primrose Funeral Service, we have been compassionately serving families for over 80 years. Do your loved ones a favor by pre-planning your funeral and cemetery arrangements. With pre-planning, Primrose can help eliminate the difficult decisions at a difficult time, because nobody should plan for a loss at the same time they are experiencing one. Our sincere commitment is to make things a little easier for you and your family. So contact Primrose Funeral Service at 405-321-6000 or visit them online at primrosefuneralservice.com.
Hi, I'm Barry Switzer. I'm supporting Larry again for mayor. He's done the thing that needs to be done. Fund the police, back the police, raise the morale. That's so important. I know the other guys voted twice to defund the police. I gotta know the blue is behind me and I'm behind the blue. So that's enough for me to say. The mayor, Heikla, is my guy. Vote for Larry on February the 11th. We need him again, I promise you.
Paid for and authorized by Mayor Heikla 2025 and endorsed by Fire and Police.
Hi everybody, Toby Rowland here. And are you and your family looking for a place to golf in 2025? The Trails Golf Club in Norman is perfect for you. The Trails give you the opportunity for you and your family to spend quality time together by playing golf, enjoying the pool in the summertime, along with many family fun-filled activities around holidays. Plus, one of the best restaurants in town. Now is the perfect time to join the Trails. Contact Zane Alexander today at 405-360-3790 or visit trailsgolf.com.
There are trucks, then there's the truck.
GMC Sierra, with available features like the V8 engine, the ultimate luxury interior, and of course, the available world's first 6-function multi-pro tailgate. GMC Sierra, not just any truck, the truck. GMC's continued commitment to professional-grade engineering is on full display at your Oklahoma GMC dealers. Come take a test drive today and see for yourself. We are professional-grade GMC.
At Susan G. Komen, we believe that ending breast cancer needs all of us working together. Because if you've just been diagnosed and don't know where to turn, we've got you. If you can't afford the treatment you need, we've got you. And if you are driven to honor the loved one you've just lost, we have a place for you here. Because of you, we're supporting those who need help today while tirelessly searching for tomorrow's cures. Visit Komen.org and be a part of our Susan G. Komen community today.
You're listening to the home of Sooner fans, KREF, Norman, Oklahoma, and streaming live on the KREF app.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
All right, welcome in. Hour number 2. I was just telling Gary, the computer must have gotten stuck. See, my clairvoyance, Gary, you saw it on display right there.
I did.
We are here at Cavens. It is their 15th anniversary, and that's why we're here on a Monday. It's always a great day to be out here at Cavens with the crew out here. They're cool people, and they are the best in the business of what they do. So 15 years in business here at Cavens, Gary, and what's amazing is the way that this got started. It was the initial funds came from what, like a $2,000 tax refund?
Yes.
And you decided what were you doing at the time, and how did you make the decision to end up morphing into this business, which is now considered the industry standard around here?
Well, I basically, I was ready to start out on my own and do something to give myself a little more freedom. And boy, did I not realize it wasn't going to give me more freedom. It was going to become a big animal that was going to take all my time. But, we started out with a little bit of money, tax return, and we worked for, I think it was around 2 years. We lived off Jessica's teacher salary, and we put every penny back into the company. And we kind of evolved and doing bigger and bigger and bigger jobs, and we just made sure and always invested back in the company and invested back in the community. We for the first several years, like I said, we put everything back in the company and just kept building it, and we still do that today. We still put quite a bit back in the community and quite a bit back in the company too, because we got to feed the company so that it can provide for the training, the technology, because the technology is so expensive with what we do to stay cutting edge, and back into our team, giving back to our team so that they're paid well and that they can come out there and take care of the customers, you guys. It's just part of our DNA to do all that, to give back. And it's been a wild 15 years, and me and Jessica have made a lot of sacrifices along the way to make sure that we got to the 15-year point. And we just it's amazing, and we're excited to be here, and we're excited to be here for another 15, 20, 30, 40 years. We're just excited to be part of the Oklahoma community and continue to grow and continue to give back to the Oklahoma community, and continue to develop Cavens Group, our disaster response, whether it's mold, storm damage, crime scene, biohazard, water, emergency water response. We're just here 24/7, 365 to help.
Now, did you initially think it would be disaster response when you first started? Was that the goal that you wanted to work to that, or is that immediately what you started out concentrating on?
It was something we worked on. It was a lot of construction and stuff like that, and we worked towards this. And this wasn't this type of work to have the proper tools to do what we do. It takes a lot of money to buy it.
So you had to work your way up to that with other jobs.
For sure.
Yeah.
100%.
There you go.
100%.
Okay, so what are we thinking about right now that mold, again, is a year-round issue?
100%.
And what else are we thinking about right now? But mold, again, is one of those jobs where if you're one of those guys and you can do a lot of things yourself and you pride yourself on that, that's one you probably, though, don't want to do yourself.
No, 100%. And I get calls all the time of people trying to do it themselves and looking for advice. And, it's the same answer all the way across the board. Don't do it yourself with mold because if you do, you'll be calling us back and asking us to come fix it because you got to make sure you get all the spores. You got to make sure you take care of everything. You got to do it right. There's a proper way. There's a lot of training and stuff that goes into it. One major myth is bleach does not get rid of mold. It just doesn't. It's just not, that's not what happens. It can change the color of mold, but it doesn't get rid of it. And so, that's something that's big too. Everybody thinks, hey, we'll spray some bleach on it. It doesn't, that doesn't work. You'll be calling me a few months later with the same problem. Again, if you try to do it that way. But no, when it comes to mold, it's not something you want to do it yourself. You want to hire a professional who knows how to do it. Make sure they get rid of all the mold so it doesn't come back. And get rid of a lot of mold too, because once the spores are disturbed, they can travel through the HVAC system. They can travel through the property. If they're not contained properly, if they're not removed, there's a lot of things, a lot of variables there, a lot of things that can happen. But the biggest thing is make sure you dry your property. You have to have a water issue to have a mold issue, and that's either a water intrusion issue or a water loss that wasn't dried properly, or a roof leak or a window leak or water intrusion from a flood coming under doors and stuff like that. So, the big thing is that if you have a water loss, call us. Insurance covers water loss. 99% of the time it doesn't cover mold. So you want to call us so we can get that resolved for you before it turns into a mold issue. Because going to Home Depot, we talk about this all the time, going to Home Depot or Lowe's or Walmart to buy a box fan to dry it, it doesn't dry the building components. It doesn't dry the back of the sheetrock. It doesn't dry the insulation. It doesn't dry the wood studs. It doesn't dry the building components. You got to get those building components dry to make sure you don't have mold, and you have to have specialty equipment to do that. And we do have the specialty equipment, and we do have the training to know how to know when it's dry and when you're not going to, dry quick enough that you're not going to have mold growth.
There you go, the man, Gary Cavens, 15 years in the business and the best reputation in the business as the leading disaster response group team in the area. They set the standard here at Cavens. Gary, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, and we'll see you again on Wednesday.
Yes, sir.
Gary Cavens, the man here at Cavens Group. All right, 405-651-3439, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line, and the tube of yous. You all get on YouTube. We are streaming there now. What is this, our second full week, I think, Parker? Is that right? Second full week?
Yeah, sure. Let's call it that.
Yeah, why not? 405-651-3439 on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. And on YouTube, just get on, search K-Rev Sports. And then when you're on our homepage at K-Rev Sports, just click on up there where it says live, and we'll be there. So let's see. Caleb Landrum says, any comment on Wyoming supposedly spending $8 million for a Super Bowl commercial instead of spending it on NIL? The source, J.J. Watt. What?
Okay, first off, universities can't spend money on NIL. Mm-hmm. That has to come from external sources. Most obviously for OU and most other P4 programs, they have collectives in place. That's where the NIL comes from. It's not like the university is spending money that could otherwise be allocated to NIL, because for the moment they themselves can't spend any money on it. So because the University of Wyoming made an expenditure, that does not necessarily mean it's taking anything out of their pockets as far as NIL is concerned. That comes from university funds. And I did see, 2 commercials last night for the University of Wyoming, which is kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah. Who is the greatest Wyoming Cowboy of all time? Yeah, Josh Allen, but then it's Jay Novacek, right?
He's up there.
Finis Dimbo, the Electric Man. who played back in the 80s on the Wyoming basketball team, along with Eric Legner, the center. Dimbo, I think, was with Detroit for a while. Who else? There's got to be another one. But, yeah, it's clearly Josh Allen, Jay Novacek. Probably somebody else. Somebody go ahead and Google it up. All right. Hey, Caleb, thank you for saying that on YouTube. Appreciate you being with us on YouTube. Thank you. 405-651-3439, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. What did you think of the overall Super Bowl? Everything included.
I look, at the end of the night, I was very satisfied because Jalen Hurts got his title, Patrick Mahomes was denied a three-peat, and I had some relief from Chiefs fatigue. That said, the game itself was super anticlimactic. I mean, again, I didn't mind it because Philly won, but not the most riveting of football games.
I think the whole thing was pretty bad overall, actually. I was surprised. I didn't know that Shay suffered that much, my lovely wife, from Chiefs fatigue, because she was laughing every time the Eagles scored. And she's not like anti-Taylor Swift or anything like that, but she was clearly enjoying the Chiefs getting a beatdown yesterday, and I was a little bit surprised by how much joy she took. I wanted to see the Eagles win a close game, but I wanted a close game. And the minute that Cooper DeJean, I think, got the pick six, I thought it was over. Maybe there was a glimmer of hope because it was, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. But at the same time, I don't know, man. They were just they didn't blitz again one time. And 4 guys, what does that allow you to do with your other 7 guys? Playing a lot of zone defense. Mahomes was completely flustered. The Eagles won that game on both sides of the line of scrimmage. And that's why they died. 40-22 was not indicative of the beating that Kansas City took in this football game. Now, here's another yearly refrain on Twitter. Worst halftime show I've ever seen in my life. Now, there are 2 things. I don't know. I mean, I know who Kendrick Lamar is. I think, the dance routines, rapping that long is pretty impressive. I can't say I'm a fan. I'm like more old school rap, but what he did was pretty impressive. So, it's not like I'm a more of an old school, rap kind of guy. But the other side of the coin was the older white dudes trying to act like they were experts on the beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake. Oh, he cooked this guy. What's like, dude, you're still an older, nerdy white dude. Nobody thinks you're any kind of hip-hop, connoisseur. I know you're trying to get your attention or whatever, but I don't know. Oh, my gosh, Serena Williams did the crip walk. And by the way, if you are really that into a rap beef battle, whatever you want to call it, you're probably laughing at me now. Yes, old white guy, I get it. But you've got too much time on your hands. Way too much time on your hands. Oh, my gosh, he cooked Drake. Really and seriously, you need to think about getting outside. Think about maybe gaining employment somewhere. And perhaps ask somebody out like on a date. Think about starting a family because you have way too much time on your hands. That's why for this generation, they're going to destroy the world. They're very much on the way to it right now because they are the most shallow, attention-seeking group of people I've ever seen in my life. I mean, literally living their entire day on a phone, thinking about how they can get hits or how can I get likes or how can I appear to make myself cool or look like an insider. Get out there and do something. And I'm not talking about the shyster activities that some of you guys do, all right? You're not fooling anybody.
Please, just for the sake of my own curiosity, give me an example of shyster activity.
Well, like in the radio business, we had, at a couple places I worked, we had consultants, right?
Consultants?
Yes. They came from outside of the market. And look, I'm not above hearing somebody's opinion, all right? But these people had no clue what the market was about, what Oklahoma fans have wanted to listen to for years, and what they're all about. Yet they paid these people a bunch of money to come in, break down your show for one day, and I'm sure they all left with $25,000 or whatever the job was worth. And I always thought that was horse manure. Most consulting jobs are horse manure. Now, you know, if you're consulting the president or if you're at the Pentagon, I'm sure but, you know, it's stuff like that I think are BS situations. And, I mean, we had one of the guys who consulted was a really nice guy. I liked him, but I thought, again, dude, I need to get one of these consulting gigs because you're just, I didn't say it to him, but you're just stealing money, basically. You know? And I just, looking at social media every day and what's important tells me that we're circling the drain. And again, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse are saddling up right now. And I'll tell you, you are responsible. I'm not talking to all of you, but you know who you are. All day, how many likes do I have? How many tweets have I put out? Nobody cares, all right? And you're destroying the fabric of this society, America, and the world. Yes, you're doing it. Jeez. You know what? I need to go consult. I need some seminars. Maybe the world can turn around, but I'm not hopeful. Not hopeful. Okay. All right. Jesse Crittenden, can the Sooner basketball team turn it around? Can the Sooner basketball team turn it around? We'll talk to Jesse on the Riverwind Casino hotline. Happy anniversary, 15th anniversary to Gary and the crew here at Cavens. We'll talk Sooner hoops and some Sooner football and jump into some softball as well with Jesse when we get back right here on the Ref.
Join the Army. Get the app. Tell your friends. This is the Ref, where diehard Sooner fans listen.
Your dream home is right around the corner, and at Stride Bank, we're here to make it a reality. With competitive rates, personalized service, and streamlined processes, buying your first home or your forever home has never been easier. Let Stride's experienced mortgage team guide you every step of the way, from pre-qualification to closing. With local roots and national reach, Stride Bank is your go-to partner for all your banking needs. Stride Bank, your trusted financial partner since 1913. Find out more at stridebank.com. Stride Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Oklahoma baseball single game tickets are on sale now. Don't miss a packed 31-game home schedule this spring at L. Dale Mitchell Park. Seats start at just $10 per game, with exciting promotions like $2 Tuesdays, Firework Fridays, and Sunday Fun Day for Conference Series. Guaranteed fun for the whole family. Check out the game schedule and more information at Soonersports.com. Join us at the ballpark and Boomer Sooner.
Ever wonder why someone would wake up at the crack of dawn just for a chance at the unknown? Maybe a better question is, what are you waiting for? Pacifico was brewed for those who follow their own path. That's living life anchors up.
What's up, Ref Army? It's Dusty Dvorak, and I'm back. I'm excited to be back with the Ref and cannot wait to help bring the home of Sooner fans the best Sooner coverage. Catch me every Tuesday and Wednesday during the 10 a.m. hour of The Plank Show as I cut it up with Plank and Josh about everything in the world of Sooner and college football. That's every Tuesday and Wednesday on The Plank Show, and there's only one place to hear it. The Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Download the KRF app today to listen from anywhere.
OU softball, baseball, and gymnastics offer great opportunities for you to get out for some exciting action and support your Sooners. Going to an OU event or game? Balfour of Norman on Campus Corner invites you to stop by and get some new OU gear. Whether it's a softball jersey with your favorite player or just a new lucky shirt or hat to wear to the game, Balfour has everything you need to be in style and showing your colors. Cheer for the Sooners in the best and newest styles in Sooner sportswear. Locally owned for more than 45 years, Balfour continues to be Sooner fans' favorite OU store and has everything you need. Balfour has the latest styles and fashion trends for men, women, and children. You can find something for every Sooner fan. When it comes to hats, they have you covered with more than 100 styles to choose from. Even OU socks, so you're literally covered from head to toe. Graduation is right around the corner. They have OU diploma frames in stock. Or you can always get a gift card so they can choose the perfect gift for themselves. Come see us on the corner or shop online at crimsonproud.com, where you will find everything Sooner.
Entrepreneurs in Moore, Norman, and South Oklahoma City have an experienced business partner in their neighborhood. Moore Norman Technology Center's workforce and economic development team understands the challenges entrepreneurs and small businesses face every day. From building an effective business model to hiring the right employees and managing cash flow, Moore Norman's business development experts can help you move forward confidently and thrive, knowing that you have a skilled partner at your side. Learn more about Moore Norman's Technology Center by calling 405-801-5000 or visit us online at mntc.edu.
From the gridiron to the hardwood to the diamond, no one covers the Sooners like we do. If it's Sooner Sports, we have you covered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. This is the home of Sooner fans.
Are you tired of overpaying for insurance? Make the switch today and put more money back in your pocket. Right Way Insurance offers unbeatable rates and exclusive discounts. Don't settle for high premiums. Contact Right Way Insurance at 405-607-6014 and start saving on the coverage you need. Affordable protection is just a phone call away with Right Way Insurance. That's Right Way Insurance, your trusted partner at 405-607-6014.
We are back. I'm here at Cavens Group. It is their 15th anniversary. We just had a chance to talk to Gary, the man here. They're awesome out here at Cavens Group. Disaster response. We hope you never have to call this number, but if you have flooding, mold issue, smoke damage in your home, biohazard cleanup, you need to call 405-573-3048. We always recommend you put that number in your contacts. Cavens Group, C-A-V-I-N-S, C-A-V-I-N-S, Cavens Group. They set the standard in the industry. We also want to thank our friends at Hightower Clinical, bringing clinical trial opportunities to the state of Oklahoma. No cost or insurance needed to participate. Your meds, they're free, and the patients who take part in these trials are also compensated for their time. If you have any interest in hearing more on these clinical trial opportunities in the metro area, you can call them or just text them at this number, 405-831-5905. That's 405-831-5905. Or there's information available online at hightowerclinical.com. That's hightowerclinical.com. Jesse Crittenden joining us, Riverwind Casino Hotline. Jesse, how close is the doomsday clock moving towards midnight for the OU men's basketball team right now?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where, I mean, look, you knew coming into this last week, I mean, a matchup at Auburn, a matchup, home against Tennessee. I mean, you get two top five teams in the same week, that it was going to be a really difficult week. I mean, I think even just going 1-1 would have been pretty incredible for this team, given what they were going up against. I do think, though, it's disappointing to lose both games so convincingly. I mean, I think particularly that game on Saturday where, I mean, you just come out flat and you allow a Tennessee team that really hasn't been good offensively all season. It's really been their defense. I mean, they've ranked near the bottom of the SEC in every offensive category for most of the year. You let them shoot 70% in the first half, and that's kind of the game. I think to come out with that type of effort, I think, was disappointing. And you heard Porter Moser, I think, pretty revealingly say after the game. I mean, I asked him after the game, about the offense and about the effort, and he said, this week we're not doing a good enough job mentally staying in the fight when things go bad. And I think that was if you're worried about anything with this team right now, I think it is kind of that. It's the when things have gotten tough these last couple of games, they've kind of wilted, and that's kind of what happened on Saturday. So I think from that standpoint, losing these two games is understandable, if not predictable. The path to the NCAA tournament is still here for this team. I think you could kind of build in these two losses and still evaluate where they are and how to get there, how to get back to the NCAA tournament. But now I think these were two games that, while they were tough, were pretty disappointing. And that's what I said last week, that when this team is firing on all cylinders, they're an NCAA tournament team. The question is going to be, do they play consistently enough at that level to do it? And I think after these last couple of games, that's still a question about whether they can hit that consistency they need to get back.
Look, Jesse, brutal reality is Porter Moser may well be on the chopping block if the Sooners don't get to the tournament next month. How do you fix this, man? Like, how do you fix the predicament that OU basketball is in? Because from where I stand, replacing the coach, while it may be a step that a percentage of the fan base is in favor of at this point, I don't think it magically solves all the problems that plague this program with where they currently sit in the landscape of SEC and college basketball as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is it's a very systemic thing. It's a very broad issue, I think, that's facing this program right now. Because look, as disappointing as the effort was on Saturday, and as disappointing as that game against Auburn was on Tuesday, look, if anybody watching that game against Tennessee on Saturday saw, Oklahoma just didn't have the horses. I mean, that's the reality of it. They didn't have the athletes. They didn't have the players top to bottom to compete with a Tennessee team like that. Now, that's not even necessarily a huge criticism as much as, look, this is an SEC conference that, not out of nowhere, but a little unexpectedly, is probably the best conference in college basketball. I mean, you look top to bottom, to try to stay alive or to try to stay afloat in this conference, you're going to need, real difference makers up and down the roster. If you watch that game on Saturday, Oklahoma doesn't have that. And so I think part of it is, in some ways, it's a little bit as simple as this program just, there hasn't been great building blocks for this program, especially since Porter has been there. He's been having to overturn the roster year after year. And I think if this season is disappointing down the stretch and they miss the NCAA tournament again, I think, of course, you're going to have some skepticism about changing that and having building blocks moving forward. I mean, you even heard on Tuesday, I think pretty surprisingly, pretty candidly, the broadcasters noting the lack of fan support in this program. It all kind of ties together, right? I think the reality is, even if you get to the end of the season and decide that this thing just isn't going in a good direction with Porter Moser, it's not going to be that simple. And I think the reality is things are stale right now with this program, but at the same time, I think there faces legitimate questions and a lot of big problems in terms of how do you get this team to be not only competitive in the SEC, but competitive year after year, where making the NCAA tournament is something that you can expect. So I think this is a thing you could talk about for a very, very long time. Look, Oklahoma could turn things around these last few games to get back to the NCAA tournament. Maybe things feel better, but I think it really all comes down to there's not a whole lot of consistent building blocks for this program that you can feel good about in terms of building success year after year. And there's probably a lot of things that are going to have to get fixed in order to change that.
Let's talk about, football. Clearly the flagship program at Oklahoma, always has been, always will be. Men's basketball has been good in the past under Billy. They're probably the best program that has won an NCAA championship. And they're certainly, I think, somewhere between, 10 and 15, 10 and 20 in terms of really good college basketball programs throughout history. But it's not working right now. So you go to a minor bowl game, you lose. It's a disappointing season for football. We know that Brent's on the hot seat. Porter certainly is on the hot seat. You don't make the NCAA tournament. How much of this has been Oklahoma, in their top two sports, and the two, obviously football being Godzilla and men's basketball being a really tiny baby Godzilla? How much of this has been Oklahoma's just not been SEC ready? How much of it's been bad luck? How much do you lay on the administration? Why has it not worked out for Oklahoma with these two programs so far, at least in the SEC year one?
Yeah, I mean it's a huge question, right? And I think especially if men's basketball, I mean if this season doesn't end well down the stretch, I think it's going to be a question that you have to ask. I think it's a combination of a lot of what you just said. I think if you try to evaluate where these programs were, where football and men's basketball were coming into the SEC, they weren't necessarily ideal situations, right? It's not like Oklahoma, it's not like the football program was coming off of a fantastic season where they won the Big 12 and made it to the playoff. It's not like the men's basketball hasn't made the tournament since the 2020-21 season. So it's not like there was already great footing there. I mean, it kind of seemed like both programs were already kind of heading into or in the middle of, kind of down periods for both programs. And then you kind of amplify that with the move to the SEC, right? I think it's hard to know. I mean, if football was in the Big 12 this year, do we feel differently about the program as a whole? If the SEC basketball league doesn't show itself to be probably the most competitive conference in the country from top to bottom, do we feel a little differently about the men's basketball program? It's hard to say, right? But either way, that was the risk that was taken coming into the SEC, is that there was going to be immediate pressure on both programs to succeed right away. So I think the hard part is you're not succeeding. This has not been the ideal start to being in the SEC for either of these programs. But at the same time, these programs weren't in fantastic positions to begin with. And I think it's hard because it's hard to really compare where college athletics is right now to really any other period over decades and decades, right? I mean, the game is just different. The way you build programs is different. The way you sustain success is just different. So all that said, I think you took two programs that weren't at their highest levels and put them in a really tough conference, just as college athletics as a whole is changing. So I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of questions without a ton of answers, but especially if things don't go well for men's basketball down the stretch, I think the athletics department is going to have to spend this summer and a lot of time in the off season to trying to figure out how to answer all these problems and how to get these programs headed back in the right direction. Because the reality is it's probably not going to get easier, right? I mean, the
momentum, the problem that you have, Jesse, is the momentum, because, it's kind of, you look at it, well, we told you Oklahoma wasn't ready for the FCC, because that's what a lot of the SEC fans said. But then, once this plays out, it plays out on social media, which of course sucks, but that's what people look at these days. And then it's kind of in an echo chamber that, well, Oklahoma's not this or that. And I do think a lot of it's been bad timing, bad schedule, luck for Oklahoma, but it kind of builds on itself, right? And it's kind of a hard thing from a perspective standpoint to break free of if you're OU to a certain extent.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, the reality is, look, it's you can't base the first year in the SEC and therefore say OU wasn't ready for the SEC, right? It's not really fair. But at the same time, you wanted to make a good impression, and neither of these programs have made fantastic, first impressions. But you look at the football schedule. You look at men's basketball just came off a week where they're playing number 1 on the road and number 4, right? I mean, it's not like there's not excuses you can point to or things that haven't been really difficult. But that was the pressure of coming into the SEC, is it was going to look bad if your two top programs had tough years. So. I don't really know what the answer is, other than it's not going to get any easier. I think you could point to some things in football and say, look, I mean, they just went out and got the offensive coordinator they wanted. They wanted to go get Jim Knowles to make a big hire. They are putting things into restructuring the front office. So the reality is, I think the best and simplest way to say it is this: these are not simple fixes. As much as we want simple fixes, they're not simple fixes, and it could take a lot of upheaval and a lot of time to get these programs going back in the right direction.
Instead of asking you a question here, Jesse, I am merely going to read you a text from the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line and ask that you react to it. This listener in Colorado says, Joe C. better get the LNC and Eldale Mitchell upgraded quick, or they will never compete in the SEC in both sports.
It's certainly possible, right? I mean, it's hard to not go to the LNC and think about the environment that both basketball programs, but the men's basketball program is playing in compared to some of these other venues where men's basketball is more of a priority than it has been at OU. The thing I would tell people is I think there's a lot of issues that you could address. I do think at some point the basketball program is going to need to be in a more premier venue than the Lloyd Noble Center. But if the ultimate goal is trying to build top contenders in men's basketball or even baseball, where obviously we know baseball how big it is in the SEC. If you're trying to build not only top flight contenders, but trying to build contenders that are sustainably successful year after year, it's going to be more than a venue change. That might be part of it, but it's going to take more than that, and that's what's going to be tasked of this athletics department, this year and moving forward, is how do we find footholds in these non-football programs where we can be successful year after year in a new conference. There's a lot of questions that need a lot of answers.
All right, Jesse Crittenden, OU Insider. Pardon me, with us on the Riverwind Casino hotline. What was your take, 6-0 for OU softball over the weekend? I don't know how much you got to see, but what was your take on what you saw from this new-look Patty Gasso squad?
Well, look, it wasn't perfect, right? I mean, they certainly got pushed. I mean, you have two games that go into extra innings. I mean, the Sunday game in particular, where it goes into 11 innings, where that was a real test. And Long Beach State isn't a big name, obviously, but I mean, Long Beach State's a good team, and they looked really good this weekend. That pitching staff is no joke. So I think to come out of two really big tests against Long Beach State and San Diego State that go into extra innings and you find ways to win, I think that's all you can really ask for of a team that has so many new players. It wasn't perfect. It was a little bumpy. I think you saw this team offensively. It's still trying to find, what the lineup looks like. In the circle, you had some really good moments, right? I mean, Isabella Smith was lights out. You had really good moments from Sam Landry. You had really good moments from Audrey Lowry as a true freshman, but obviously I think the thing to say is it's a work in progress. And I asked Patty before they went out to California if there could be a lot of early season experimentation, and you saw that. It was a different starting lineup every single game. You saw a ton of movement both in the infield and the outfield, and outside of a couple of spots, you see a bunch of players rotating in. And so I think, you're always going to want to win games, right? But I think you're seeing this coaching staff really prioritizing just trying to figure out what works from top to bottom. And I think if they lose a game here or there in trying to accomplish that, I think they can stomach that. But look, you come out 6-0 with some really big performances from Cassidy Pickering, from Ella Parker. You get the Isabella Emmerling grand slam in that San Diego State game. So, you had some great moments, some bumpy moments, and I think anybody that watched this team this weekend, I think saw that you're going to see a team that's going to grow and change a lot through the course of the year, particularly compared to other years. And like I've said before, I think this season is going to be particularly rewarding for fans that stick through, maybe some up and downs that come. But ultimately, you're 6-0 and you find ways to win. I think it's overall a successful weekend.
Jesse, you the man. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Hey, appreciate you guys.
Jesse Crittenden, I'm seeing on YouTube, we've still got the Hogwarts Academy director there. Picture of Jesse. Very nice. Jesse, if you want to update your picture, you can send us one if you want to, but I think it's a fine photo. Pretty good. Pretty good. All right. Les Wilson says they left a lot of runners on base, but overall they played well. Yeah, again, the bar that has been set the last 4 years is as high a bar as you can set, to go out and win a national championship. I like Tia Malloy, hit 2 home runs, too, a couple of shots. Lawyer Malloy's daughter, outstanding freshman. they've got the pieces. They're just going to have to, keep playing games. I like the fact they were pushed in a couple of those games, and they came through. They had to go 9 innings with San Diego State, and they put 5 on board to win that game 11-6 in the 9th. And then yesterday, 11 innings with Long Beach State, and they finally win 2-0. So they had to work for a couple of those wins as well. Okay, break time right here. When we come back, some final sports notes. More from you on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line, 405-651-3439, and on YouTube as well. Keep it right here on the home of Sooner fans.
Join the movement. The Ref Army is growing. Don't miss a second of the Sooner coverage you want with the KREF app, the #1 source for Sooner fans.
Fowler Automotive is proud to be a part of your community, where our passion and values lie far beyond the showroom. We believe that families, sports, art, and culture are at the heart of every thriving community, and it's important to us that we help build the communities that our dealerships call home. Stop by any of our 6 Oklahoma dealerships to see the Fowler standard hard at work. We pride ourselves on being friendly, helpful, honest, and fair. This is what drives us every day. Fowler Automotive, a proud partner of OU Athletics.
The Ref is the home of Sooner fans and is once again your home for chaos. Every game-changing hit.
Long fly ball to left. Track. Wall. Gone.
Every strikeout.
Got him. Swinging.
Every defensive gem.
He caught it. He caught it.
Every game. All year. The Ref has you covered.
Catch opening weekend of Sooner baseball against the Lehigh Mountain Hawks Friday at 4, Saturday at 2, and Sunday morning at 11 a.m. right here on the Ref and the KREF app.
Don't miss out on OKC's hottest entertainment at the Showplace Theater with acts like Gladys Knight, February 28th. 38 Special, March 7th. Bonnie Raitt, March 15th. And Chicago, March 28th. Riverwind is OKC's favorite casino experience.
I'm Gina Mitchell of Mitchell's Jewelry. Valentine's Day is all about love, and we have gifts worthy of the day. Modern heart pendants and fabulous gold necklaces are sure to make her heart skip a beat. She might even have a wish list waiting for you. If you're looking to outdo Cupid, our Antwerp Diamond Supplier has brought in the best Antwerp has to offer. The selection and the prices are oh so sweet. Mitchell's Jewelry in the heart of Norman at 2201 West Main Street.
I'm Randy Gardner, President and CEO for Rose Rock Habitat for Humanity. I'm super excited about our Common Grounds Coffee Festival this year. The Cleveland County Fairgrounds are under construction, so we are doing things different this year. We are taking the Coffee Festival on tour for the month of February. This year, we are offering a passport for you to visit our vendors at their places of business. In return, take advantage of special offers, prizes, and much more. Stop by the Habitat Restore, 1100 West Main Street in Norman to purchase your passport for only $10. Visit roserockhabitat.org/coffee to learn more.
Hi, I'm Barry Switzer. I'm supporting Larry again for mayor. He's done the thing that needs to be done. Fund the police, back the police, raise the morale. That's so important. I know the other guys voted twice to defund the police. I got to know the blue's behind me and I'm behind the blue. So that's enough for me to say. The mayor, Heikla, is my guy. Vote for Larry on February the 11th. We need him again, I promise you.
Paid for and authorized by Mayor Heikla 2025 and endorsed by Fire and Police.
Does your banker know your business, the challenges you face, and what makes you unique? At Armstrong Bank, we're dedicated to understanding your business and working alongside you. A true partnership is more than financial transactions. It's support, trust, and attention. This is how we make businesses stronger. Armstrong Bank. Strength runs in our family. Contact our knowledgeable bankers to open your business account. Member FDIC.
When you struggle with Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, you get used to not feeling 100%. I thought that was how it had to be. Until I discovered the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. They told me about new medications that weren't around back when I was diagnosed. They helped me find a specialist who gave me a new treatment plan. I'm feeling better than I ever thought I could. Don't settle for not feeling your best. Take action today to take care of yourself. Spill your guts. Learn more at spillyourguts.org.
Get on out to Riverwind Casino today and play with your wild card and earn the extra entries for the 80K Cupid's Quest drawings happening on Friday nights all month long throughout the month of February. Play with your wild card again today and tomorrow, and you can get 5 times the entries by getting the required points in your wild card. And it's not a lot. You can do it. You can do it. Then be there Friday night. Hopefully hear your name called in the intercom and win your share of 80K in cash and bonus play. We have the 15K Cupid's Bouquet of Cash promotion happening this month as well. Thunder up and double down. You can win up to $700 in chips. The 30K Royal Hearts all month long, win a share of 30K in chips in that great promotion. And the 30K Love to Win Hot Seats competition happening on Saturday nights, February 8th and 22nd. Win a share of $30,000. Riverwind Casino, nearly 3,000 electronic games. They've got the best promotions, best bars and dining. They have a great poker room, off-track betting, smoke-free gaming area, the Oasis gaming area. And we have shows coming up in February that aren't too far away now, including Aaron Lewis and the Stateliners on a Friday night, February 21st. Ryan Bingham and the Texas Gentlemen the very next night. Saturday night, February 22nd, and Gladys Night coming up on a Friday night, February 28th. Big-time shows. Then in March, 38 Special, Bonnie Raitt and Chicago. In April, the band America and Boys to Men. And then May, Patti LaBelle will be at the Showplace Theater. Riverwind Casino, they set the standard. Best casino experience in the metro area by far. Not even close, bud. Good times and great rewards always at Riverwind. Okay, Parker, let's hit that text line and the YouTube chat.
All right. Big Rich in OKC says, and a lot of these texts are basketball-centric. Kelvin did it. Billy did it. Great players. Final Fours, conference titles. They did it in the LNC. It can be done. Get the right coaches and the horses. Okay, many have said that today or expressed similar sentiments on the text line, Big Rich, but it's been almost 20 years since Kelvin Sampson coached at the University of Oklahoma. The LNC was not obsolete in 2006. Well, some may argue it was at the time. It is certainly obsolete in 2025, Steely. The LNC of today is not the LNC of 20 years ago. And
no, you're right. And it does. Parker, again, this was built, basketball arena, sure, but it was also a multi-purpose arena. These other newer arenas, like Texas has, Baylor has, Auburn built recently, they're basically basketball arenas, right? Texas can expand theirs, but, it's just not a great home court environment either, unless you fill it. So, yeah, there's some issues. But, yes, is it outdated? 100% it is. No doubt.
And here's the deal, too. And somebody on the text line said Lon Kruger did it. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's true. You know what Lon Kruger didn't have to deal with? NIL. The only coach that Oklahoma has had in the sport of basketball in the NIL era is Porter Moser. And so Porter is facing some challenges that are unique to his experience as the head coach at Oklahoma because none of those coaches that came before him had to deal with them. None of the coaches that came before him had to play this game. And in the NIL era, Steely, when everybody can make similar financial offers or better financial offers, right? When you're Lon Kruger and you have the background that having taken 5 different programs to the NCAA tournament, which I believe only 4 men in the history of the profession have ever done. It's him, Tubby, Rick Pitino, Steve Alford, I think. But when you have that type of background, when you engage in recruiting battles for top-tier talent, you maybe have the sway to be able to strong-arm that recruitment a little bit. Say, hey, look, I'm going to get the most out of you. Yeah, our facilities may not be anything spectacular compared to some of the other programs you're interested in, but we're going to play winning basketball here, and I'm going to get the most out of you as a player. Well, guess what? NIL very much kind of takes that pitch away from Oklahoma. It takes, well, I shouldn't say that it takes that pitch away because Porter Moser naturally doesn't have that same pitch. He doesn't have the track record of success that Lon Kruger did because when Kruger came to Oklahoma, he was already one of the most accomplished coaches in the sport. But Porter Moser doesn't have anything like that in his background, save for the Final Four run at Loyola Chicago, that he can point to and say, okay, this is the reason why you should not only come play at a program with unsexy facilities, but also why you should take less money to come to Oklahoma. It's got to be really, really difficult. And obviously, I'm not in those rooms. Like, those conversations are happening between Porter and the prospective student athletes. But I have got to imagine it is more difficult to recruit to Oklahoma as a basketball destination than it ever has been in the NIL era.
Yeah, look, I think also, by the way, who's running the KREF Sports account? Sounds like you need more of a car salesman type as your basketball coach in this era. Do we know who that is?
I believe that's Blake.
That's Blake? I thought Blake had his own account, though, too. Yeah, all right, that's fine. I just want to make sure it wasn't T-Row, because T-Row, a long, long time ago in a galaxy very far away, when T-Row filled in on the Animal a long time ago, I remember, believe it or not, Parker Thune, I was out running.
Really?
I had like a Walkman on, and T-Row said, well, you know, I'm not going to be some kind of used car salesman or something. And the used car salesman movement came after him. They were very upset that day. That was my first memory of T-Row when he filled in on the Animal a long time ago, is that he upset the used car salesman. But since then, the used car salesmen have overwhelmingly approved of Toby Rowland. He seriously bounced back. All right, 405-651-3439, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Don't you think, though, even with facilities, look, you don't want, and the Lloyd Noble Center is not a good facility right now. We all know that. But don't you think it's more about NIL than facilities? Even with, you still got good football facilities, really good football facilities. But I still think it's more about NIL, don't you? As not to say you've got to have a good sales pitch. Parents, particularly moms, need to believe in somebody like Brent Venables, but it's also NIL money. In my opinion, that's how would you rank those? NIL, recruits, pitch mom and dad, and then facilities. 1, 2, 3.
I mean, these days it's got to start with NIL.
Yeah.
Especially in basketball, right? Because, every single one of those kids thinks they're going to play in the NBA. And maybe 1 out of 20 will. But everybody thinks they're going to play in the NBA. Everybody wants a taste of the luxurious lifestyle that they envision as a future NBA superstar. By the way, we have a $20 super chat.
I just saw that.
From K-Dub of Billings Solar Roofing, who said, seriously, thank you all for at least addressing these underlying issues instead of acting like they don't exist. It's just not fun going to an OU event because they have no idea how to energize a crowd. I could do better. It's sad.
And I agree to a certain extent, but what also energizes a crowd is a fun, really good basketball team like Billy Tubbs used to trot out on the floor. Now, you can do it with promotions and stuff as well, K-Dub. You're right, but winning cures a lot of ills. In that game, Tennessee was up by 20 at half. Tennessee made 14 of 16, including their first 5 threes. Oklahoma got punched in the face, couldn't come back. Now, they did outscore Tennessee 27-25 in the second half, but still, there are a lot of issues. You can't pretend that there's not a big issue with Oklahoma men's basketball. And there's an issue with football as well. Not as big, but basketball again right now, man. And this has been an issue for a while. Not just with Porter Moser in terms of crowd, energy, all that stuff. Thank you, K-Dub. Super generous of you. Appreciate it.
Another 918 listener says, NIL is the answer, and NIL is the only answer. 580 Nate says, Jenny coaching basketball in the NIL era and got beers to commit. Why make excuses for Porter? Because you're not looking at an apples-to-apples comparison there. Men's basketball players and women's basketball players are not paid anywhere close to on the same scale in the NIL realm. There is far more NIL money devoted to men's basketball than women's basketball. Naturally, right, because men's basketball and football are the two sports, especially in the SEC, that everybody is most tuned in with. And so if you can't play the game, if you can't play the NIL game at a high level, then the overall talent of your roster, the overall level of ability on your roster is going to suffer. I think you rewind to last spring, Porter Moser in Oklahoma looked like the destination for quite a while for big-time Seton Hall transfer Kadari Richmond. Remember him? You know where he wound up? He took a big bag to go to St. John's and play for Rick Pitino. And he has been a critical contributor.
They're
for
killing
what has
it
been
at
a
St. John's.
Fantastic season for the Red Storm.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about it. All right, folks, we appreciate it. By the way, our poll question today, should Sooner fans be able to claim Troy Aikman as a Super Bowl winning quarterback? 67% said no. I like that because I feel the same way. And by the way, off Twitter, somebody asked me, Steely, do you know the other two Sooners are to score a touchdown in the Super Bowl besides Jalen Hurts? One would be Kenny King, ironically, against the Eagles back in the 80s. It was a touchdown pass from Jim Plunkett. The other one, I believe, would be Damian Williams, right, for the Chiefs?
Damian Williams had 2 touchdowns, yep.
Yeah. But, yeah, Kenny King, and it was a long pass. I think it was like a 60-yard pass from Plunkett to Kenny King out of Clarendon, Texas. Wishbone fullback at Oklahoma. Great player for the Sooners. All right, we got to get out of here. Appreciate you guys and ladies. Thanks to our friends here at Cavens. Happy 15th anniversary. And thanks to all the great folks out at Riverwind Casino. Tyler will be out here coming up at 3. In the meantime, let's get locked in up next right here on the Ref.